Hi everybody, I'm here with my completed CB Kitty cigar-box guitar. This is the same kit that everybody got in intro engineering. I made very few modifications. I really like the bridge design. The modifications that I made are that I went for a smaller screw at the nut, so what you got here is a basic wood screw. I like that because it enables me to play fretless but still be able to easily touch the fingerboard. And also when we use the slide, see if I got a slide in the pocket here, also works for that. I used a little bit of wood hardener here. What else did I do? A little bit of glue on the back side there. That's about it. Haven't really tried to customize it too much. Got a rubber band to hold it shut. So, some of you, like me, may be completely new to guitars. I never played guitar before this, or played piano and cello, and the nice thing about the tuning that's very popular with three-string cigar-box guitars is open G tuning. For me at least, it has that fifth between the first and the second string. Let me put down my slide here and show you what I'm talking about. What that means is if we tune this G, the thickest string G, and then G, and then G at G, D, G, then the first thing you need to do to tune is just make sure that your G's line up. So you should have a nice clean octave between those two. And then you have a fifth between the next lowest string, G, and the D. So, and you can remember what a fifth sounds like just by remembering Twinkle Twinkle. So it goes like this. Right? So you tune that until you... And then the second fret down, you could go. So that's how a lot of us who play cellos and violas and violins remember what a fifth sounds like. That's about it in terms of what you need to know to get going. This is an extremely intuitive instrument to learn to play on. If you need some helpers, since we don't have frets, we've got fret markings, but we don't have fret wire and we don't have the dots that indicate frets. One simple thing that you could do is just mark some notes on the upside of your fingerboard that only you can see. Everybody will think you're an expert, and then you can just kind of read off the notes as you go there. Okay, so here's a song. So I know absolutely no guitar music. Never played guitar, but I set about seeing if I could play something back from my college days that I really, really loved. So back when I was in college, there was a song by Miss Tracy Chapman called Give Me One Reason that I thought was the bomb. It was a really amazing blues song, relatively simple, but very effective song that did very, very well for Tracy Chapman. And I was curious whether we could get it to work on this cigar-box guitar. So let me show you, I'll give you a very quick tutorial of what I worked out so far. Some of you may be much better at playing guitar than I am, but I think this will give you some basic idea of how to play something, how to get started. Look up the song by Tracy Chapman. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. So let's get started. How do you get started on I'm going to set the slide down for now, and let's just talk about what we're doing. So the song features a very distinctive and repetitive bass line that goes something like this. All right, so that's it. And if you play that a half dozen or so times, you've got the entire song, at least that part of it. And if you listen to Tracy Chapman's recording, there's not a whole lot else going on. It's just the simplicity, the beauty of that very, very simple bass line going on. With the slide, what we can do is we can add some additional higher notes, and we can add a little bit of sliding. And then I'll show you, I figured out how to keep some rhythm with a little bit of just simple slap on the box. So let's go to step 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to employ the slide. I don't even know which finger this is supposed to go on, but I'm going to go with it with this finger here. My slide is a little bit big. It keeps falling off my finger. So now you can do that exact same thing, but you can add a little bit of very interesting slide to it. So you can go. Now, you may not be able to notice that all I'm doing is depressing the thickest string, which is the string facing me. If you want to get more fancy, what you can do is you can start sliding across all the strings and strumming all the strings instead of just strumming the top one like I'm doing. So let's see how that goes. So already you've got something, and you can imagine that if you plug in an amp, put a little bit of distortion in there, a little bit of reverb, whatever, then you really got something. All right, let's blues this up a little bit. I got to get a little bit more bluesy here. I'm going to change. Let's see what we can do. Let's see if oh yeah, I think the sunglasses will help. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of the above, but I'm also going to add a little bit of rhythm just by tapping the box with my hand. Whoops. Oops. How do you do the rhythm? You got to think about it a little bit, get the beat started. There we are. All right, so there, within just a couple of minutes, you got something that's already playable and already sounds great. If you listen to the Tracy Chapman version, you'll immediately recognize where you are. And by the way, those of you who are wondering what the hell is he doing in terms of chords and so forth, if you use the application Chordify, C-H-O-R-D-I-F-Y, and if you pull up the Tracy Chapman song, Give Me One Reason, you can transpose it into different keys and you can try all kinds of different stuff. Okay, so now how do we add the vocals? Now, one thing you may note is that by playing an open G, we're already in a vocal range that is probably pretty convenient for males and female voices, which is really great. Tracy Chapman has this bass quality, this deep bluesy bass kind of quality to her voice. It's just magnificent. But you could bump it up to whatever key makes sense to you. If you feel like you want to sing in a higher key, or guys, if you want to take the guitar part and move it up higher so that your voice can go lower and kind of creep in underneath it, one thing you don't want to do with these strings is tune them higher than, say, G, D, G, because you'll just break the strings, at least the topmost one. You don't want to go too much higher than that because you'll just break it. So one option you have is just to capo. So look up capo online, C-A-P-O, if you don't know what that is. It's almost like a clothes hanger, essentially, that goes across here and just makes a new nut. Another thing you could do is just get yourself another wood screw, slide it underneath your strings somewhere up here, and you're going to be good to go. And then with doing that, you could move up to higher keys if you like. The other thing you could do is, instead of using that open note at the very beginning where I go, I could have just as easily have gone from like A to C. I could go, or do something like, I don't know, I can go to a whole bunch of different directions. Anyway, play around. You can do all kinds of different things. You can play it all. You can play it anywhere you want, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. If you want to add other embellishments, notice that whenever you have all strings barred, that the lower two strings will be part of a chord that will actually sound quite nice. So you could do. So in other words, at the end of each phrase, you could add something like that. If you're that skilled, then you can do that. Now, in terms of adding vocals, I'm not going to try to do this. I haven't really been practicing, but it's really pretty straightforward. The song, once you understand one verse, you pretty much understand them all, and it goes something like this. Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Okay, so I'll need to work on that, obviously, but the turning around, turn right back around, happens on this high note. And then if you'd like to play the vocal part on guitar rather than sing it, you just don't feel terribly confident, you could always go down to the low string, and if one of your buddies, maybe from our class, is playing the other part that I was playing, you could go like this. You could go. You could play it up like that, or you could play it all the way up here. Find the right note here. You could slide around and have all kinds of fun all day. All right, so I hope you enjoy that. Again, the basic pattern, start all the way from the beginning, is very simple. You're just going. If you can play that much, then you're good to go. I think you'll be able to figure out the rest in no time at all. Have a lot of fun. See you around.